welcome back. The little Timmy Skimmer grew up right outside Renton, Washington. Wanted to just play games, Unos and hearts and all kinds of gin rummies. God, I remember that as a kid. It was never enough. A local math teacher named Richard invented a game where you can ante a card from your deck and you play for that ante card. And you can win that card. And then the math teacher opened a store in Renton where you could come down to play the game. A really nice man named Mark would check on players and see if they liked the cards. Timmy showed up every weekend. And then one day they went to the Pro Tour. Years later, he kept the cards, folks. He kept the cards. So today, after all these years, the cards head to Florida into the basements of hopes and dreams. And today we look at two very interesting conversation pieces. The old tabbies. We got two Tabbinackies of Pendrell's Rudy's, also known as the Towers of Magic. Beautiful, iconic card. So today we acquired these two things to enter. I don't really have many tabbies in actually Italian. Most of mine are in English and of course great. Now these are gorgeous. It's very rare that something this old maintains. Look at that surface gloss. No dents, no initials, no ladies of the night phone numbers. Just a gorgeous piece of Magic history. I mean, you got a little corner flip there action going on, which was very common in the old packs. Nice little corner flip from the stamping back in the day. Beautiful card. Yes, these are probably gradable type condition. And I remember this gentleman contacted me and he was like, Rudy, I'm telling you, they're mint. I said, bro, everybody contacts me and says they got 100 mint tabbies and Black Lotuses. But these are truly near mint to mint. And absolutely awesome, gorgeous cards. So I want to talk to everybody about what's going on. The reserve list. Does anybody care? What's going on? I guess we're going to leave them out of that. I'll leave them in the soft sleeve though. And you know, the whole attitude of everything, okay? The whole, you know, where do we go from here? I've been getting a lot of messages, you know, Rudy, with everything going on, honestly. Do we still buy reserve list cards? Is this something that we think has opportunity? Is it over with? I mean, that's really what the conversation of today's video is. You guys can look at some nice tabbies. Very proud to do this deal. Very, very appreciated Dr. Timmy from good old Washington, from the West Coast to the East Coast. Here's the thing, folks. The macro economy is still very turbulent and difficult, okay? That alone is going to continue to place downward pressure on all CCGs, like we've talked about. You could have bought anything from Magic to, most Magic, most Yu-Gi-Oh!, most crypto, stocks, hell, even real estate now. You could have bought a bunch of Rudy cards. Everything is down. Now, of course, some categories are down 70, 80, 90% if you were in some weird crypto thing. Or you went to zero. Or you're down, 40, 50% if you bought, a Rudy card. Or you're down, 60% if you bought Boulder's Gate. Or maybe you're only down 5, 10% in Pokemon because they did the best. You know, no matter what you look at it, the argument right now is the degree of the movements, not whether or not you made money. And that's always the textbook era of a bad economy and a bear market. And we have to remember, this is the first time in 7 years that I've been making videos that interest rates in an inflationary environment is really putting some serious pressure on the card world. The cardboard world is really, it's under a lot of pressure. Under pressure. It's a real thing. And that's really not going to change until we get some macro stabilization, which I believe is coming. We haven't seen further collapses at least. But we're not really seeing any positivity. We're continuing to see just everybody frustrated. And of course, you know, with Wizards' actions and Magic 30th didn't really, you know, it was kind of the icing on the cake for 2022. You know, that's just how this year unfolded. It is what it is. It's in the cards and it was meant to be this way and it happened and it's done. You know, so remember, a lot of the money, I want to go into some of the specifics here. So a lot of investors that I knew, and including myself, one of the reasons that I and many other people would park money in collectibles, let's focus on Magic today, not any other card game. So one of the reasons myself and many others would park money in sealed product or vintage single cards, reserve list, or any category, new sealed product, old sealed product, or anywhere in between. You know, the reason was there weren't the amount of choices. The opportunity cost is very different. Sure, you could have just bought the old S&P, the old SPYs, and, you know, the S&P 500 and mutual funds and, you know, set it and forget it and wait 10, 20 years. And sure, you're probably going to do pretty well. You know, historically, that's just how the data works. And that still maintains truth even to today, even though the markets are rough, And yes, I'm a kitty cat, and people think cats are advisors, so whatever. But that, buying a mutual fund long term has historically always been, a decent path to take. You can't really argue against that. No one can. No one ever has. And I guess some people have, but it's kind of a goofy conversation. But now that money sitting in a bank account, for a lot of people that gets zero, that money, the cash has value, and that cash can work for you. Many people don't feel buying into any collectibles is nearly as attractive. It's the same thing with the stock market. A lot of people would buy certain specific dividend stocks. They call them dividend aristocrats type thing because they've been paying a dividend or they meet the qualifications of paying a dividend for X amount of 10, 20 years and they raise it every year. One of those things. But overall, people would always look for dividend, type of holdings. And a lot of those dividends would, pay out 3, 4, 5, 6% a year kind of thing. That was the average range. The average dividend stock would pay between 2 and 6%. And that was a normal thing. But the thing is now that you cash, you have some brokerage firms paying 3, 4% interest on cash. You have brokered CDs on the E-Trade secondary market between 5 and 6. You've got corporate bonds, triple B, single A investment grade above high yield junk trash. That's 7, 8. The fact that you have these type of shifts in the market, it makes it very different right now. You can't compare. You can't just sit back and say, hey, these tabernacles are the best thing to buy right now. Because if you pay, let's say you pay an even, I don't even know what I'm going to answer, for a towel, let's say even $2,000, or you buy 2 for $5,000 kind of thing, and you bought it off eBay or something, or maybe they're graded or something. Are these Italian tabernacles going to generate 10% returns a year? Are they going to double your money every 7 years? Rule of 7, the rule of 72 thing, blah, blah, blah. Is that really going to be a case? And nobody has the answer to that. But what people do know is what the odds are. And right now, the odds are not favorable for making quick tendies or making money in Magic period. If I had to pick a category, honestly, I think Pokemon and probably Flesh and Blood, and there are certain other small niche sectors of the market that probably have the best odds of certain products or cards or sealed or singles that are actually going to appreciate. But overall, the odds are not as favorable. You can't be as confident as you were. And that alone, that fear drives a lot of money out of the market. The more unknowns and less confident you are, the more it makes people back away, and the more it makes them not want to do anything. And I think, like people ask me, Rudy, when you get a card like this, people always ask me after a video like this, are you going to grade it? In the past, I would do grading. And grading is a great example. In the past, when you graded cards, the cost of to grade these 2 cards would be maybe $20, $30 a card back in the day. And it was, maybe a couple months, maybe 60, 90 day turnaround or whatever it is. But now, card grading costs, and yes, I know I still grade PSA because I'm an old fart, is become so much more expensive. Now that the card grading industry is finally leveling out, now there's a lot of other competitors, and now a lot of these new startup card grading companies aren't doing well at all. And I'm starting to hear rumors of some of these new startup card grading companies that were a lot of these, there was like 20 new card grading companies. And I believe a lot of them, I don't know how they're doing. I wouldn't be sending them cards, let's put it that way. But, we're moving forward. And, there was a time years ago when I would look for mint cards like this just to send off for grading. And, many stores would do that just to flip it. So they would hope they could get a Beckett, 9.0 or a 9.5. And they could try to sell this, even Italian version, they would try to sell it for, $4,000 or $5,000 or something. But, with the card grading costs, the turnaround time in a soft market, I don't believe even converting or extracting value from grading from raw to going from a raw card to a graded card just to extract more equity, I don't think that's really a thing anymore. I see that, and I think that's a good example of that. That's just one segment of the market that's kind of done. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the odds aren't as favorable. That's the thing. And, I'm not going to go on this video very long. I just want to do a short, simple talk on this. And so people need to understand, the people left in the market now are people who truly like CCGs. The people buying new Magic sealed, vintage Magic sealed stuff, reserve list cards, the people buying any of these assets in Magic, or even anything else, Pokemon vintage, Pokemon sealed, Flesh and Blood, the original 3 set cold foils that people still are very tough to get, or sealed product, or again, any of the Pokemon sets. Maybe now a lot of the new people who are targeting the new MetaZoo Seance because it has less of a print run, or they're going back to Nightfall or the Cryptid, the original, because the prices come down. Maybe they're doing the same thing with Weiss, some of the sets. Maybe they're doing it with Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe they're looking at some of these new Kickstarter things. Everybody's trying to figure it out. But the basic answer is the easy money's gone, and whatever you buy today has to be you have to love the product, because you're not going to make good money at it. You're not going to make quick money. But I don't believe this attitude that everybody's writing off the whole market as game over. I don't think it's the correct choice to take. And the fact that everybody has given up and the emotions are just literally like, why waste my time in cardboard world, is making the market attractive to me. And sure, maybe I am the king of all Timmies and I continue to buy things even no matter how bad it is. But, call me an eternal optimist. I do believe the future is going to get better in everything. I think, overall, the overall economy, the markets, the collectible world, I even think crypto will stabilize. I think real estate will stabilize and eventually go up again. I think everything. I think all the asset classes overall will be okay, but it's going to be a bumpy thing, and it's going to continue to weed all the weak hands out, deleverage people, and wipe people out. And that's the sad truth. And that the truth is that, a lot of these stores and people are going to go to zero. They're going to get wiped out. The leverage is going to eat them alive. The high interest rates are going to crush them, and they're going to be forced to walk away and move on with their life. And the people left standing, remember, keep in mind, collectible market peaked May, June of 2021. Stock market peaked October, November of 2021. So the stock market's about 13 months in a bear market. The collectible market is in about, 18, 19 months in a bear market, approaching 20 months of bear market negativity. Keep that in mind. The average bear market, can last as little as a couple months and last as long as a couple years. So, we are trekking through it, folks. And again, I encourage anyone out there who loves this stuff and has a passion for it like I do to hang on, because we will make it to the other end. And we're going to look back on this time, and it's going to be a tough era, and we're going to make it, folks. I'm telling you, we're going to fucking make it. Don't give up. Stay the damn course.